What if one country gave the world the first global empire, some of the greatest artists in history, the biggest football clubs on earth, and a lifestyle so different that dinner doesn't even begin until 10 at night? A country where Roman ruins stand beside futuristic buildings, where centuries-old traditions still shape everyday life, and where over 90 million tourists arrive every year. But here's the real question. Why is Spain one of the most admired countries on earth, yet one of the most misunderstood? Today, we're uncovering the truth behind the nation that changed the world. This is Spain. When most people hear Spain, they picture beaches, football, paella, and sunny vacations. But Spain isn't just a holiday destination. It's a country built on conquest, rebuilt through civil war, reinvented through democracy, and now stands as one of Europe's cultural powerhouses. To understand modern Spain, we have to go back thousands of years, because everything starts with a story almost nobody remembers. Before Spain existed, long before Spain became a country, this land belonged to dozens of different tribes. Then came the Romans, nearly 2,200 years ago. Rome transformed the Iberian Peninsula into one of the most important regions of its empire. They built roads, bridges, aqueducts, cities, and laws that still influence Spain today. Some Roman bridges are still carrying traffic after nearly 2,000 years. Think about that. Many modern highways need repairs after just a few decades. But the Roman story wasn't the end. It was only the beginning, because another civilization was about to leave an even deeper mark. Then, in the year 711, everything changed. An army crossed the sea from North Africa, and within just a few years, Spain would become one of the most advanced places on earth. For nearly 800 years, much of Spain was ruled by Muslim kingdoms. This period became known as Al-Andalus. While much of medieval Europe struggled through instability, cities like Córdoba became global centers of science, medicine, engineering, mathematics, and philosophy. Imagine walking into a city where the streets were lit at night, where libraries contained hundreds of thousands of books, and where doctors performed advanced surgeries centuries before many other parts of Europe. Scholars from different religions worked side by side. New ideas spread across continents. Many technologies and scientific discoveries reached Europe through Spain during this era. Even today, you can still see this incredible legacy. The Alhambra in Granada, the Great Mosque of Córdoba, and countless historic neighborhoods continue to attract millions of visitors every year. But history never stands still. Another turning point was coming, one that would change not just Spain, but the entire planet. In 1492, one decision made by the Spanish crown would completely rewrite world history, and the consequences are still shaping our lives today. The year that changed the world. The year was 1492. Spain had just completed the Reconquista, unifying much of the country under Queen Isabella I and King Ferdinand II. That same year, they agreed to fund an ambitious explorer named Christopher Columbus. His mission seemed almost impossible: sail west and find a new route to Asia. Instead, his voyage connected Europe and the Americas in ways that transformed global history. Within decades, Spain built one of the largest empires the world had ever seen, stretching across the Americas, parts of Europe, Africa, and Asia. Spanish explorers, traders, missionaries, and settlers carried their language and culture across continents. Today, Spanish is one of the most widely spoken languages in the world, a legacy of that era. Spain became one of the richest and most powerful kingdoms on earth. But power never lasts forever. Empires rise, empires fall, and Spain was no exception. After centuries of unimaginable wealth, The country faced wars, economic decline, and one of the darkest civil conflicts in modern European history. How did Spain lose an empire, yet eventually become one of the world's favorite destinations? Spain rose from ancient civilizations to become the most powerful empire on earth. Gold poured into the country. Its ships ruled the oceans. Its language spread across continents. It looked unstoppable. But history has a cruel habit. The bigger an empire becomes, the harder it falls. By the 16th century, Spain controlled lands across Europe, the Americas, Africa, and Asia. People even said, the sun never sets on the Spanish Empire, because somewhere in the world, Spanish territory was always in daylight. Ships filled with silver and gold crossed the Atlantic every year. Madrid became one of Europe's richest capitals. Spanish explorers mapped new lands. Artists like Diego Velázquez created masterpieces. Writers like Miguel de Cervantes gave the world Don Quixote, one of the most influential novels ever written. Spain wasn't just rich, it was shaping global politics, culture, trade, and language. But, behind all that wealth, a dangerous problem was growing. Spain depended heavily on treasure from overseas, and when that flow slowed, the cracks began to appear. The world's richest empire was quietly running out of money, and its enemies were watching. For centuries, Spain fought expensive wars across Europe. At the same time, other powers, Britain, France, and the Netherlands, were becoming stronger. Trade routes changed. Colonies demanded independence. One by one, Spain began losing the territories that had made it so powerful. By the late 1800s, the empire that had once dominated the globe was a shadow of its former self. Then came another devastating blow. In 1898, after the Spanish-American War, Spain lost Cuba, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the Philippines. For many Spaniards, it felt like the end of an era. The nation that had once ruled oceans was forced to face an uncertain future. But an even darker chapter was still ahead, one that would divide families, destroy cities, and leave scars that lasted for generations. This wasn't a war against another country. It was Spaniards, fighting Spaniards. In 1936, Spain descended into a brutal civil war. The conflict lasted nearly 3 years. Neighbors turned against neighbors. Families found themselves on opposite sides. Hundreds of thousands of people lost their lives, and many more were displaced. When the fighting ended in 1939, General Francisco Franco established a dictatorship that lasted for decades. Political freedoms were heavily restricted. Many people lived in fear, while others left the country in search of a new life. Spain had gone from leading a global empire to struggling through one of the most difficult periods in its history. To many observers, it seemed the country's brightest days were over. But history had one more surprise. After decades of hardship, Spain chose a different path. Instead of looking backward, it rebuilt itself. The dictatorship ended. Democracy returned. Modern cities rose. Millions of tourists arrived. And Spain transformed into one of the most admired countries in the world. But how did a nation devastated by war become a global symbol of culture, football, food, and tourism? Spain had lost an empire. It survived a devastating civil war. And for decades, it lived under a dictatorship. Most countries never fully recover from tragedies like these. So how did Spain transform itself into one of the most visited, admired, and culturally influential countries on Earth? The answer is nothing short of remarkable. In 1975, everything changed. After the death of General Francisco Franco, Spain began a peaceful transition to democracy. It wasn't easy. The country had to rebuild trust, strengthen its institutions, and redefine its future. But Spain chose unity over division, freedom over fear, progress over the past. In 1986, Spain joined the European Economic Community, now known as the European Union. That decision opened new doors for investment, trade, education, and infrastructure. Soon, modern highways stretched across the country. World-class airports connected Spain to every corner of the globe. And the AVE high-speed rail network became one of the fastest and most extensive in Europe. The country that once ruled the seas was now racing into the future on steel tracks. But Spain's biggest export wasn't trains or technology. It was something far more powerful: its culture. Few countries have shared their culture with the world like Spain. Walk into almost any major city on earth, and you'll find Spanish restaurants, flamenco performances, or people learning the Spanish language. Spain's famous tapas culture turned sharing food into an experience. Traditional dishes like paella, jamón ibérico, and churros became international favorites. Then, there are the festivals. Every year, thousands gather for La Tomatina, where an entire town becomes a giant tomato fight. Others travel to Pamplona for the famous running of the bulls, a centuries-old tradition that still sparks fascination and debate. During Semana Santa, cities transform into living museums, with solemn processions that have continued for generations. Spain isn't just a place you visit, it's a place you experience, and once you do, it's hard to forget. But if there's one thing that made Spain famous in every corner of the world, it's not food, it's football. In Spain, football isn't just a sport, it's part of the country's identity. The rivalry between Real Madrid and FC Barcelona, known as El Clásico, is watched by hundreds of millions of fans worldwide. For many, it's more than a match. It's history, pride, and passion. Spanish clubs have dominated European competitions for decades, producing legends who inspired generations of players. The Spanish national team also made history by winning the 2010 and 2026 FIFA World Cup, followed by consecutive European Championship titles, earning a place among football's greatest teams. But Spain's influence goes beyond trophies. Its style of play, built on possession, precision, and teamwork, changed how football is played around the world. Whether you're in New York, Tokyo, or Buenos Aires, you'll find fans wearing Spanish club jerseys. That's the power of Spain. Yet despite all its fame, Spain still hides incredible secrets. Entire villages carved into mountains, an island with volcanic landscapes that feel like another planet, a desert that has doubled as Hollywood's Wild West, and places so breathtaking, most tourists never even discover them. Spain built one of history's greatest empires. It survived wars, reinvented itself, and became one of the world's most beloved destinations. But the real Spain isn't always found in Barcelona or Madrid. To truly understand this country, you have to go where most tourists never do. Beyond the famous landmarks, Spain hides another world. In the south, the white villages of Andalusia seem frozen in time, their narrow streets winding through hills that glow under the Mediterranean sun. In the north, the Picos de Europa rise above green valleys and ancient stone towns. Many first-time visitors are surprised to discover that parts of northern Spain look more like Ireland or Switzerland than the dry landscapes often shown in travel ads. Then there are the Canary Islands. Although they belong to Spain, these volcanic islands sit off the northwest coast of Africa. With black sand beaches, lava fields, and year-round mild weather, they feel like another planet. And in the town of Ronda, a dramatic bridge spans a deep canyon, creating one of Europe's most breathtaking views. This is the Spain that many travelers never expect. But beautiful landscapes aren't the only reason people fall in love with Spain. Many visitors come for a vacation and end up dreaming of staying forever. Why? Spain isn't obsessed with speed. Life moves differently here. Evenings begin late, Public squares fill with families and friends. Conversations last for hours. Meals aren't rushed. They're moments to connect. This lifestyle reflects a broader focus on enjoying everyday life. Spain also has a strong public transportation network, modern healthcare, and cities that are easy to explore on foot. From lively coastal towns to quiet mountain villages, many people are drawn not just by the scenery, but by the pace of life itself. For countless travelers, Spain becomes more than a destination. It becomes a feeling. But here's something even more surprising. Spain isn't just preserving its past, it's helping shape Europe's future. Today, Spain is investing in renewable energy, modern infrastructure, scientific research, and innovation. Its high-speed rail network connects major cities in just a few hours. Historic neighborhoods stand alongside contemporary architecture. Ancient traditions continue, even as new ideas reshape the country. Spain has learned something many nations struggle to balance: how to honor history without becoming trapped by it. Every castle, every cathedral, every football stadium, and every village tells part of the same story. A story of resilience, of reinvention, and of a nation that refused to let its past define its future. Final conclusion. At first glance, Spain might seem like a country of beaches, football, and vacations, but beneath that image lies something much deeper. A land shaped by Romans, influenced by Islamic civilization, transformed by explorers, tested by war, and rebuilt through determination. Few countries have experienced such extraordinary highs and such painful lows. Yet today, Spain stands as one of the world's most visited countries, not only because of its beauty, but because every corner has a story to tell. Perhaps that's why millions of people leave Spain with more than photographs. They leave with memories, new perspectives, and a desire to return. Because Spain isn't simply a place you visit, it's a place that stays with you. So, if someone asked you to choose just one Spanish city to visit, would it be the artistic streets of Barcelona, the royal elegance of Madrid, the timeless beauty of Granada, or maybe one of the hidden villages far from the crowds? Tell us your answer in the comments. If you enjoyed this journey through Spain, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Here, on Chill or Feel, we travel beyond the postcards to uncover the real stories behind the world's most fascinating places. Until next time, keep exploring.